honeys. Welcome to Life as a Question Mark podcast here. This is the podcast where you never know what will be happening next. Heck, I never even know some days until it is indeed happening and it's already come out of my mouth. I've done the thing that I did, etc., etc. You know what I'm saying. So in case you didn't know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Each year, millions of Americans face the reality of living with a mental illness. Mental illness affects everyone, either directly or indirectly through loved ones, co-workers, and through whoever other people they may know. Mental Health Awareness Month was established in 1949 to increase awareness of the importance of mental health and wellness in every American's life and to celebrate recovery from mental illness. We need more awareness of what people need to change to help improve the lives of people who are severely affected by the mental illness, no matter if it's directly or indirectly. Mental Health Awareness Month is every May to also educate others about mental health and illness, to help fight discrimination, to provide even more support, and to advocate for mental health and what needs to change. Anyone can have a mental illness. Mental illness can happen to anyone at almost any time, and mental illness may be caused by childhood abuse, trauma, neglect, the environment of where they are or where they have grown up, or maybe someone may be just born with a mental illness. Mental illness may impact a person's life by how one may think, feel, and behave, how one copes at work or other places, how one may function in relationships, unnecessary disability, unemployment, substance abuse, homelessness, inappropriate incarnation, suicide, poor quality in life, physical, emotional, and mental pain, and one's ability to manage everyday tasks, even the simplest of tasks. Mental illness may also be called a mental disorder. Mental illnesses are a wide range of conditions that affect mood, thinking, and behavior. Some type of mental illnesses are depression, anxiety disorder, bipolar disorder, dementia, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD for short, schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD for short, post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD for short, eating disorders, dissociation and dissociative disorders, paranoia, and psychosis. Here are some general statistics about mental illness. 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. experiences serious mental illness every year. 1 in 20 people in the U.S. experience a serious mental illness, or SMI for short, every year. 1 in 6 youth ages from 6 to 17 in the U.S. experiences a mental health disorder every year. The annual prevalence of mental illness among the U.S. whom are lesbian, gay, or bisexual adults are 50.9%. Here are some annual prevalence among the U.S. adults by their conditions. Major depressive disorder episodes are 8.3 or an estimated 21 million people. Schizophrenia is less than 1% or an estimated of 1.5 million people. Bipolar disorder are 2.8 or an estimated 7 million people. Anxiety disorders are 19.1 or an estimated 48 million people. PTSD are 3.6% or an estimated of 9 million people. OCD is 1.2% or an estimated 3 million people. And borderline personality disorder are 4.1 or an estimated 3.5 million people. Here are some annual treatment rates among the U.S. adults that has any mental illness by demographic group. Males are 40%, females are 51.7%, and lesbian, gay, or bisexual adults are 55.6%. The proper treatment varies by the individual that has mental illness. Some of these treatments are medication, talk therapy, psychiatric counseling, psychotherapy, and medical or crisis intervention. Some ways that you can help someone that has a mental illness is by listening, offering them to talk to you, offering to help them, being there for them, not leaving them alone, especially if you think they are at risk for suicide, checking in on them, offering to take them to their treatment or to help them with their treatment, practice positive self-talk with them, encourage the person to get professional help, and by being supportive. You can participate in Mental Health Awareness Month anytime. You can do this by educating yourself and others about mental health, volunteering, donating to support mental health, exercising, offer wellness gifts, create a self-care routine for yourself, check in on your loved ones and those around you, meditating, speak with a professional or a mental health organization, find time for yourself, do what you love, sharing your story if you feel comfortable doing so, spreading kindness and love, becoming better people in society, and by simply doing better. Remember that just one thing or person could cause a very positive and needed 180 in somebody else's lives for the positive. And that indeed could be you. All right, so we're going to do some very, very short TV talks. Because, I've been so busy and stuff, and that is for another episode that I have planned coming up. But I have not had a lot of chance to watch TV. I'm now up to about 4 jobs now. It's great. It's a great time. So I haven't had a lot of time to watch TV, but I'm going to recap on some of the things that I've seen. And also, it's been a while since I've been recording, honestly. So I'm not going to go and backtrack. We're going to start fresh, new plate. I need to make myself less stressful about this, that kind of thing. Just go with the vibe. So I heard Grey's Anatomy is going to be on for another season. And you know what? I got to be honest with you. That pisses me off. And let me tell you why. They've done everything in that season. They've written off all the good characters. All the good characters are gone. Like, why keep kicking a dead horse, per se? Why? I mean, why not keep Station 19 going and then incorporate Grey's Anatomy with that? What's the problem? So that's my feelings on that. And then I haven't watched very much Survivor and Amazing Race. And actually, I think they're over by now. It's like May 7th I'm recording on. But let me be honest. I'm okay with being behind on that. I don't think I'm very far in the seasons for either of them. But let me tell you something. I am not as engaged as I normally would be because this cast in this season sucks. Sucky cast. Like, what's happening? Step it up. And you know what? I have a funny feeling. And the thing is, I'm an empath and I really got to notice this. During about the second week of April or so, I felt my psychic powers and gifts get stronger and stronger each day. I just have this feeling that Big Brother cast could have flopped this year and so is the season. Don't ask me why. I just have this feeling. And it's so weird because I keep predicting all these things and they just keep happening. And if I usually feel something off somebody, like a vibe or something, it's usually right. And I'm reading other people. It's really weird. So, I mean, that's for another conversation though. So yeah, fun fact, I'm an empath. I feel things. I'm partially psychic. Great time. Well, we could talk about that another time. I'm now watching Moms. It was another good show that I just, you know what it was? Schitt's Creek. That was a good show. Finished watching that. Now on to Moms. And then who knows? And then I'm watching Scatter TV here and there. So we'll see. We're going to skip the tarot card readings today because my psychic energy feels off and it does not feel right to do a reading this episode. We will pick up with that. But when my energy feels like it's not right, then I am not going to do that. And the same thing goes with this week's tarot reading for the podcast, Patreon. I was going to do it. And then on Sunday, I thought about it. I'm like, I can't do it. My psychic intuition is telling me not to do it and to skip it. Don't ask me why. It's just it. All right, so that is it for the episode. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe and tell your favorite stranger about the podcast. You can follow and converse with the podcast and any of our listeners of the pod by following the podcast social media pages. The Facebook page is Life as a Question Mark Podcast, and the Instagram and TikTok page is Life as a Question Mark Pod. I really do love hearing from you all, especially on your feedback about the pod. It really helps the podcast grow and do better. You can also follow myself on my personal Instagram and TikTok at Miss D's World 2022. You can also find the link tree to everything in all the social media pages bios that I just mentioned above. And I made 2 separate link trees now. One is my own personal link tree, and the other one is the podcast link tree. Just because both have too much variance with each other, and I don't want to make it harder and make people lose interest on finding where everything is. So I just made it easier for you. You're welcome. We like simpler here. And this is also where you can locate the podcast website, anywhere you can find the podcast, our YouTube, our Patreon. You can find it all right here in our link trees. Also, our link tree too, if you go to one link tree, it'll link you to the other link tree. It's really cool like that. Really smart. You can also show your love and support by donating to the pod. You can donate by clicking the support link in the show notes in every episode, especially if you're listening to the audio version. If you're listening to the YouTube version, well, I mean, just ignore step 1. By subscribing to the podcast website, by hitting the payment button in the link tree, or by subscribing to the podcast Patreon page, which all new content is coming on constantly. I'm starting to post all my past recital stuff on there, and some current dance stuff will be up there. Maybe some feet pics, weekly tarot card readings. Coming up in June, it will be the second 6-month part of 2024 reading. Fun Fridays, which could either be something freaky like my feet, or, and you know I'm saying that sarcastically about feet. I don't see what the big deal about feet is, do you guys? Maybe that's just a me thing. I don't know, but weird. Or you'll see like some battle bruises and marks I've gotten from dance, or even just by falling on air. And then every Wednesday, you'll see some kind of dance content. And then every Monday, you're going to see a weekly reading. And then also, you'll have like scattered content coming on all the time. So you definitely want to be subscribed to it so you don't miss a beat. When you make a donation, no matter how big or small it may be, I will give you a shout out on an episode of the podcast. And if you're not into shout outs, though, that's okay. I got you. I could give someone a message for you in the episode of the podcast instead. I can do messages such as proposals, wedding proposals, give someone the bad news for you that you just want a divorce or a restraining order. I don't judge. Or I could tell someone to pick up their goddamn clothes off the floor. No matter what you choose, it will be personal for you, and a very small thank you for helping the podcast become and do better and to grow. Make all donations through family and friends, though. all donations go 100% towards the podcast only. For example, it could go towards paying the subscription costs for either using the program that I edit the podcast, the songs I'm going to do self-choreograph to, or the website subscription, or any other subscriptions I use for the podcast stuff. If I need any new or extra equipment for the pod, or it could go towards my traveling expenses or whatever to go interview a guest for the podcast. Which, by the way, I'm very hopeful to get big, heavy hitting guests for the podcast, but, we'll see. We'll see. You never know. Also, the business does have a new Venmo account, too. I made it separate, so you can find that on the bottom of podcast link tree. So that'd be cool. And now I'm going to leave you a song of the day. In this song, I was going to leave you, honestly, a quote of the end of the episode for mental health awareness. But, my psychic powers, for whatever reason, just feel like it's not right. So we're doing a song instead, song of the episode. And this song, I don't even know. I can't even tell you why, but my intuition is telling me it's a very powerful song. Now you guys are really going to vibe with this. So the song of the day is Part of Your World by Little Mermaid. You're welcome. Not sure why I think it's so big right now or why my intuition's saying to have it happen, but it's happening, honeys. So eventually I'd like to get back onto weekly episodes. It's just not in the cards for me right now, apparently, because my life says no. But I'd really like to get back up there someday. Anyway, I will talk to you guys then, and be good, do better, be kind, help a friend, help people, help the world do better, blah, 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 blah. And I'll talk to you all next time.